Welcome. Thank you for joining us for another Wisdom Wednesday. And I'm excited today. We are here at AT&T Stadium, home of the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And this is their beautiful office and facility. And we also have my lovely guest here, Miss Freddie Evans, who is the first Black Kilgore Rangerette. Miss Freddie Evans, how are you doing today?
Gerald, I'm doing great, and thank you for having me here at this beautiful location today.
And it's my honor to have you here. And dance started for you even before the Kilgore Rangerettes. Your senior year, you were co-captain of the Pivoteers dance and drill team. Where does this love of dance come from?
The love of dance comes from attending South Oak Cliff, where I graduated from my sophomore, my junior, my senior year. I was first co-captain of the Pivoteers, and I just always loved dance.
That's awesome. You can definitely see it in your performances. And in the 1940s, the Kilgore Rangerettes were created to help keep fans in the stands during the game. And Gussie Nell Davis, she led the Kilgore Rangerettes. And you remember Gussie Nell. And she led for over 40 years and was known for tough standards. What were tryouts like?
You mentioned Gussie Nell Davis. I did have the pleasure of being under the direction of Gussie Nell Davis, who was the only director that I knew during that period of time. It was very intense as far as the drill teams and things, that the dances that we had to learn. It was fun, but it was very professional, and it was rewarding to know that you were trying out for something prestigious as the Kilgore College Rangerettes.
What was the adjustment going from a high school drill team to a collegiate drill team, such as one as prestigious as the Kilgore Rangerettes?
Great question, because you're talking about performing in high school football field. That was still nice, but when you talk about the Kilgore College Rangerette, it's a higher level. You're talking about from silver to gold. And so the tryouts, the workouts, the long hours, you're getting to know people that are trying out for the same position that you are. So you have to come with it. You have to put your foot forward, and if it's something that you really wanted to achieve, you could make it. It was very, 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 very exciting.
Wow. As I mentioned before, we're here at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic office, and the Rangerettes were key in making the Cotton Bowl famous, and which was originally Fair Park back then. The Kilgore Rangerettes are often credited with being the first all-female drill team to perform in a collegiate game. What was the atmosphere like, and what are some of the memories there?
I have great memories. We stayed at a hotel downtown Dallas, and it was always cold, very cold. But we were prepared for the weather, just knowing that you're going on a football field at the Cotton Bowl, and being a part of the Rangerettes hyped even more. So it's like you tuned everything out because everyone was there to see you. I remember my mom, wherever I went, my mother was there, and I was 11th from the left end, and she would have to count me to say, "There's my child." And she would always tell that story over and over again. And it just really made me proud to know that everywhere I went, my mom was always there with me.
Were you nervous?
Yes and no. It was a reflection of just the competition and being on that football field at the Cotton Bowl. It was exciting. You had family that would come out and see us, and just the, like I say, the excitement of knowing what we were going to do, because again, we were professional drill team.
And you know, and I've been blessed to meet some trailblazers in my life. Chief Larry Simmons was the first deputy chief for the Grand Prairie Police Department. Bill Hills, the first deputy city manager for Grand Prairie. And now we have Jacqueline Hedden, the first female African-American to be voted to the city council. I was reading an article on General Michael Langley, and after 246 years in the Marines, he was named the first four-star African-American general. Reading the comments, some of the people say, well, why is first relevant? Why is it important to talk about being the first African-American anything? What are your thoughts on this, and what would you say to those individuals?
I would say, why not? we have our first African-American female vice president. I'm the first black Kilgore College Rangerette. It gives an avenue for the young girls to see someone like us. So why not? There's nothing wrong with saying that this is the first. And I think people will think on that, oh, we have someone that's holding that office, or we have someone that's a rangerette. And I just think in total, it just gives them the appearance that, well, if she can do it, so can I.
I love your answer because it really speaks to the fact that when you see someone else do it, it opens up a door of possibilities, and it really lets you see what can happen. And not only that, it speaks to your hard work and the progress that has been made. I was speaking with Crystal Morris. She's over I Am One Caring Adult, and I was sharing my excitement for this interview. And I told her how I was excited. I meet the first Kilgore Black Rangerette. But Crystal agreed, but she added, but also where we have the second, third, fourth, etc., and they feel supported. How does it feel to see the progress from 1973 to now?
It feels good. I believe that we can do better. I think that we have an opportunity to reach young adults, whether it's male or female. But to say the first, why not give them that honor? The second, third, and fourth, why not give them that honor? Because again, we want to make sure, we want to ensure that people get a chance to see what we're doing. And again, they can say, well, if Gerald did it and Freddie did it, why can't we do it?
I'm sure you're inspiring so many people, and part of the reason you inspire so many people, you have a tremendous drive. Ever since I met you, I don't think you've stopped. You were a freshman senator at Kilgore College, a member of the Kilgore College Stenoettes, a group devoted to women professionals, and you have held leadership positions in the post office. Where does this drive come from?
It comes from grandparents. I had very strong grandparents. My grandmother was like a Southern belle. She strived for perfection, and when you're in an environment like that, you cannot help but to be that way. My parents, my mother was a very hard worker. At the time that I attended Kilgore, my mother worked at TI, and she was just always, for us, for my sister and I, she was always around. And being in an environment like that, you have no choice but to be that way.
You're so right. There are so many people I have to credit to my success, and even currently, I just appreciate you sent me prayers and words of wisdom throughout the day, and since I've known you, and you stay so involved that so much so it earned you the Leadership Through Community Service by the South Dallas Business and Professional Women. What are some things that you're currently involved in?
I am presently the chairperson for the Commission on Aging for the great city of Grand Prairie. I am also event coordinator for the Village United Methodist Church in DeSoto, Pastor Derek Jacobs. I work on some events for Grand Prairie, such as some Veterans Day. We're going to have a Veterans Day dinner and dance this year, and just numerous other jobs that I enjoy doing.
It is hard for me to keep up with you. You do so much in this city. One of the things I love about Grand Prairie is we have so many people such as you that are committed to community service. My question, though, to you, and I ask this of a lot of leaders such as yourself, community service has been a big part of my life, obviously a big part of your life. How do we get others involved?
You know what I like to do? I like to just pick up the phone and call and say, Gerald, we have something going on today. Why don't you meet me there? And I get a lot of that from my friends that are just like, well, you know what? I think I will. And that's the only way that we can get people involved, because they're not going to volunteer on their own. So I think by doing that and just letting them know, we could use you to volunteer to do such and such. And believe it or not, they enjoy what they're doing.
Wow, and who's going to tell you no?
Good question.
I love that, and you're absolutely right. No one's going to tell Miss Freddie Evans no if you call them. And and I like your involvement so much so because I think it's important that we bridge the gaps, not only culturally, ideals, thought, but generations. And I like your involvement with young people. What would you tell, or do you tell, the upcoming youth are keys to having a fulfilling, purposeful life?
What I would tell the youth is to believe. We don't tell our children or the young adults we don't talk positive enough. And I would just tell them to believe. So many kids are caught up with so many different things, and we need to reach out to them. And I'm always saying, if I believe, you can believe.
I totally agree with that, because we have to have, everything's a mindset. The body cannot go where the mind has not been. And so I so connect with what you're saying in that regard. And you have done so much and still doing so much. What is next for Miss Evans?
I want to continue doing the things that I'm doing. I would like to do them better, because that lets me know that I'm reaching more young adults. And if I could do anything, if I could just change one child's mind to think positive and to know in their heart that they can do whatever they want to put their minds to do, then I have accomplished a lot.
Miss Evans, you definitely have accomplished that. You inspire young people, you inspire me, and you just have shown the poise and passion that have made you an iconic Rangerette. And just a huge thank to Terry Briggs and Scotty and the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic for letting us be in these beautiful facilities with my beautiful guest here. And we just hope that you'll tune in again and join us for another Wisdom Wednesday.